right. Everybody, welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I am your host, Corey Peterson, coming to you in Hawaii. Yes, I care so much about you guys that I have dedicated time out of my precious vacation to spend time to produce a killer, and I mean a killer location podcast, so you can see that this is all about becoming a cash flow creator, and everybody knows that the rent is due. Okay, man. So funny process, funny time. It's crazy how when you put things in motion, how they tend to snowball. And when I talk about that, we're going to be talking today about branding and putting how you need to become an authority to start helping you raise a bunch of capital. Most people don't understand this, and you need to. So I need you to pay attention and listen up, because the stuff that I'm going to give you is very vital. And I apologize for wearing my sunglasses, but the sun's hitting me like this way, and it's just going to have to. Now, I know they're cool. These are my Ric Flairs. Okay, I know they're sparkling right now. I know they are, right? And that's how I'm doing it today. I'm going full-blown crazy Ric Flair. Whoo! Let me get some of that, right? I'm also sitting on a real tiny little bench here. So before we get started, like always, if you've not done so, go to the Quick Start Workshop at kahunawealthbuilders.com. Great place to get a good downloads for how to find deals, how to raise a crap ton of money. You'll need that. And more importantly is that it gets you in the game. And then once you kind of get some fundamentals there and you want to start underwriting, you can go to kahunacashflowcalculator.com, and for $197, get this amazing tool that's going to help you underwrite deals. So you can take those 2 downloads right there and start working the process, okay? It is amazing, and it will help you. I mean, it will get you going in the right direction. So in today's episode, I want to talk about branding and why you should be paying attention to your marketing. And I'm specifically wanting to talk to creating what I call a branding guide. So what is a branding guide, and why should you have one? Listen, people buy based upon emotions, and you are always getting judged within your business at any given time by everybody, right? So if you send out a marketing piece, some marketing collateral, they go to your website and they see some image, your stuff. How is it arranged? Does it look professional? Now, I'm not saying that ugly websites don't sell, okay? But in raising capital, it is different, okay? There is a different call to action when you're trying to attract money, right? And what they want to see is that your stuff is put together, that you've tied all the little pieces together and there's no loose ends. So if you want to, take the time to go to my website, Kahuna Investments, and check it out, right? And tell me what you see. You can also go to, if you go to my Kahuna Wealth Builders website, that's my teaching platform. You'll see that. But Kahuna Investments is where we do that's where we send most and drive most of our investors that want to start investing with me. And coming soon, we are going to be creating a membership site in that funnel. So if you're not an accredited investor or just anybody out there, we're going to create a way and a process that we're going to get to know you and create community. And so we can start having more active investors in our mix. So people that are listening to my podcast and you're curious and you want to understand how to invest with me, we are going to start a process to get to know each other. And that's going to be really fun and really exciting. And that's just us adding another level to what we're already currently doing. We've been teaching lots. We've got our second Kahuna Boardroom coming up in August. So if you're actually listening to this podcast, there is still time to get in. So we will close the doors officially, I believe, at the end of June. And so how do you get to the Kahuna Boardroom? Well, you have to apply. It's not, you just can't pay and come. You have to convince me that you're the right person. And so who is the right person? Well, I believe that it's a full-time investor. If you're a full-time investor, you can qualify. Now, you have to prove to me that you're full-time and you're making income, right? And the second people that qualify, or say the second types of people, are like busy working professionals, right? And or honestly, if you can prove to me that you have a network and that you have influence. And the reason I say it like that is because what I'm going to teach you is I'm going to teach you how to raise lots of private money. And if you have influence, I can help you take that influence and really expand it like dramatically, right? And so I think that's a lot of value. And honestly, I just don't want to do deals to do deals. I want to do deals to help you like get to the next level. And I don't want to spend a lot of time wasting time, right? Time is a valuable commodity. And especially when you start making lots of money, you start looking at your time totally different. Totally. So, and like for me, I'm spending a quality hour doing this podcast to set up the location, to make sure that, I mean, look at this resort. This week we're staying at this resort in Kona. And then next week we're going to go to the same house that I went to 17 years ago. When I talk about Bruce, if you guys have listened, you heard me talk about Bruce Wayne, right? He's not Batman. He was my first mentor. And he showed me what I call now is the Cashflow life. And we're going to be staying at his property. Now, he doesn't own it anymore, but we're going to stay there. And I might be buying that property. I may not buy it right now, but I'm going to say within the next 3 years, the Big Kahuna is going to own that house. I'm just putting it out there in the universe now. Branding, when I see people's brand, they don't even have a brand. People think that a logo is a brand. I'm going to tell you it's not, okay? It's absolutely not anything that like makes any like importance, okay? A logo is a logo. If you have a logo, it doesn't mean you have a brand. You have a brand when you create more of a branding guide. What's your rules? What's your platforms? What's your colors, right? And so I'm not going to be able to describe this perfectly for this podcast, but I will try to, if you go to my YouTube site and watch this, I'm going to give an example of my branding guide. So right now on the screen, if you're watching it through YouTube, you're going to see my branding guide, okay? And I'm going to describe what's in it now for all my podcast listeners. In a branding guide, you should know, like before you even start building your websites and all these things, you should have your logo. One, right? It should be in what's called a vectored format. Vectored meaning you can change the size at any given moment, right? And it will still stay the same resolution, okay? That is very important, by the way. And you can always turn those into JPEGs and PNG files. Files are important because a lot of times the background is normally transparent. So you can put your logo in any website with anything going on, and the background is going to be transparent, meaning it's going to match whatever you're putting in, and then that way you can overlay it over color, things like that. And in your branding guide, you should also have your colors. So for me, for Kahuna Investments, we have 3 major colors. We have a red, a dark blue, and a light blue. And we know the color codes for all 3 colors. We have them in the RGBs, red, green, blue color RGBs, and we have it in the hex code, and we also have it in there's some other code that you need to have, and we have that too. So we have it the 3 different ways. Most places will say, hey, what's your color profile? We have those codes available, right? And we have them right there by our colors. We also have our approved fonts. So like with Kahuna Wealth Builders, you will see that we use this little cool squiggly font in a real crazy cursive writing. That's called Better Together, right? That is our font, Better Together. And then our other font that we use a lot is called Antonio. And the Antonio font it's an approved font for us, right? So we usually put the Antonio font together with our Better Together font to make cool one-liners or things when we want to drive a point. Now, if you're reading stuff on our website, you're mainly going to see that in what's called Adobe Cash Salon. My Kahuna logo is Adobe Cash Salon font, and so it's just what it is. And the reason all these things are important, because when you're building and designing, okay, I think last week we talked with you saw the podcast with Daniel Woods. Okay, wasn't that an amazing podcast? Wasn't I mean that's a great, and in that podcast, it's having visual assets for your company. Well, you take those visual assets together with a branding guide. Now you can create some award-winning marketing material, marketing collateral, whether it be a really pretty website that looks good and then has a funnel, a system for taking people in and converting, right? And here, later on, once we get our website built, because we're building this now for the investor platform, and create a membership site. Once I get that all down and all figured out exactly, we will then come back and teach you in our podcast how we did that. So I'm going to give that to you as a gift for all my podcasts. Awesome. But the branding guide, man, I see most people, because we've been creating a lot of marketing, co-marketing materials for a lot of investors, and we're like, hey, listen, give us your bio, give us your branding guide, and nobody has anything. Now, you've got to start thinking about this stuff, especially if you're going to go down the road of raising capital and creating, positions of leadership. You have to have something that ties you to the big idea. You're just wasting time. So you want to make sure that you set up a branding guide, and so it's just like your rules. And so when you give it to somebody, so I'll give you an example. 2 days ago, we have a new marketing company working for us, and they posted some images. And I'm not going to say what images they are, but I automatically looked at them who did this? And I called my assistant. I'm like, hey, did you post those? Because you know why? They weren't up to our branding guide. They were using fonts that were not approved fonts. And that doesn't fly with me, right? I was upset because we had given them our branding guide and they didn't follow it. So that was time to go a little spanky, right? Because listen, we have rules to our marketing, and all big companies do. All big companies have marketing guidelines, things you can do. So if your logo goes behind a color, then there's a different process for that, right? So because sometimes if I was to put my logo on a blue background, right, we have to have the logo all white now, right, with still my red house. But if we don't, it's not going to pop right. And I'm not going to let someone try to figure out whether that's if they should or should not. I'm going to give them my guide that's going to instruct them if they're putting it behind one of my colors, what they do with my logo. Very particular, where it goes, how it looks, where it's placed. And so these are things that you develop over time. But I'm telling you right now, you got to start thinking about this stuff. Most people wait till it's way too late, and then they're sitting there swimming backwards, right? I mean, they're not getting the momentum that they need because they're not creating the assets that they need, to attract capital. Right now is done to attract money, right? And so you just want to make sure that you're doing it right to make sure you attract the best possible candidates to you, right? When you're putting yourself in these leadership positions, you've got to start elevating your authority, your credibility. And unfortunately, in today's world, we get judged. And so make sure that your stuff looks great. I mean, it's funny, but I go back and I look at some of my old marketing material and I cringe. I'm like, ugh, I can't stand it to see where I started. But also, it's kind of cool. I'm going to say it's kind of cool to see how we've progressed, to see how our marketing has gotten so much better. And now this is not something that I've invented or learned. I learned this, I copy this from other people. You guys know me. I love to copy my way to success. And this is no different than any other time that I've ever done stuff. Is I've learned how to put a branding guide together from other people. And I understood the value. And so once you understand the value, and hopefully you're understanding it right now, then you've got to do something about it. If you don't have a branding guide, you better start creating one. You need to. If you're in business for yourself, you need this. The other thing is a bio. Most people, I was like, hey, send over a bio. And they're like, oh, okay. So they put together a couple pieces of words. And I'm like, what? Like, listen, well, I don't know anybody. Listen, you need to search long and hard. And I'm sure, if you devote time to the PTA, if that's all you got in your bio, you've got to learn how to create a bio that says you're a big deal. No matter what your experience level, you're going to craft it and take everything that you have and you're going to make it a big deal, right? So if you get invited to speak somewheres that's important on anybody's stage, you're going to use that, even if it's a local RIA, right? You're going to, whatever you're doing that you're putting yourself in leadership positions, take that and capitalize it in your bio. So you should, in my Dropbox folder for my company, right? We have a company place where we have our headshots. I always have current headshots. Me and my wife, and all people on my team. I have bios for me, my wife, for everybody. We update those bios as we do new to it. So we always have those available. And those are standard business things. You've got to have them. Because if you go do a podcast and say, hey, send me your bio, you need to be able to whip that out quickly and send it like you've got stuff squared away. Because if you don't, then you just look like all the other Joe Schmoes out there. And like in this game of positioning and putting yourself to a higher level of places of authority, you've got to do just that. And look, I'm no different, okay? I am a master copier. I'm a master at it. And I've put myself in positions to speak at Harvard, to speak at NASDAQ, to speak at Microsoft. So to write I'm a best-selling author on Amazon bestseller. I've had people that have lots of influence write my forward. Dave Lindahl wrote my forward in my book. You do these things to create the image, right? And in a way, you could say it's like it's bought and paid for. Who cares? Who cares? Because there is no thing as bad marketing, right? But I guess you can have bad publicity, but there is no bad marketing. Even horrible marketing, when something goes wrong, is still good marketing, right? It's marketing. So, you've got to learn to position yourself in that place. And really, that's all I've done. How I'm raising crazy amounts of capital now is just because I decided to start leveling up, right? I started, hey, I'm going to create some Cashflow swag, right? Get my little house logo right here, right? Hey, that's branded, right? That is a brand. My Cashflow creator right here, right? Right here. That is branded, right? My rents due. My rents due hat, right? It's branded. Again, the Cashflow creator logo right there. Boom. Branded logo. So I know branding is important. It really brands your message. And when you keep driving that home. So listen, if you guys have been listening to this podcast long enough, you will start implementing the same words that I use, which is sunsets and palm trees, right? How many times do I say that? Sunsets and palm trees. Because before I even started this podcast, I already knew the words that I wanted to use that were going to talk to my audience and describe the life that I wanted them to have. And it's right behind me. Sunsets and palm trees, baby. That was my physical, my word description of me describing the life, right? The hustle and grind. You guys hear me talk about, are you tired of the hustle and grind of fix and flip? Do you think you can wholesale your way to success, right? The hustle and grind is another stock phrase. And so when you really start thinking about these things, these are all premeditated, pre-thought out words, that I knew that I was going to internalize, right? we came up with Cashflow Creator, right? We're like, man, what do we want our tribe to be? We want them to say, man, I'm a cash flow creator. I'm living the cash flow life. Those are the words we pre-thought of, that we knew that we were going to use to describe what we are doing right now. Now tell me that's not powerful, because I know it is, right? And that is how you should be thinking when you're like, hey, I'm going to start attracting capital. I'm going to start creating my message. I'm going to tell you right now, if you should be teaching what you know. If you don't have your own podcast right now, why don't you? Right? Why don't you? Listen, I listen to lots of podcasts myself, but I do one myself as well. And you should be too. Why? Because it's the best place to create your own authority. It is. And so you've got to step up into places of authority. Now, you don't have to do a podcast, but like do YouTube. I mean, for me to produce my podcast, it costs me $1,000 a month, right? I pay someone to do all my show notes, to clean up the audio, to make it look cool, and that's to produce my podcast. Now, I could do it on YouTube, kind of almost for free. I may not have all the back end stuff, but I still reproduce my podcast on YouTube all the time, every episode. So like, there's no excuse why you can't start. I know good friends, my buddy BP. You guys have seen BP on my podcast. He has the AZ Flip Guys that he does every Friday. Every Friday they're doing a Facebook Live, and they have a great audience that comes on Facebook Live to watch their Facebook Live, the AZ Flip Guys. And so that's BP putting himself in positions of leadership. And so when you're out there doing real estate, I believe this wholeheartedly. You should teach what you know. Okay, I talk about this all the time, but you should be teaching what you know in any way, shape, or form, in any form that you can. And then you also should be a student, right? And today I am still the same way. I teach what I know, and I'm always trying to learn things that I don't, especially when it comes to my industry of multifamily apartments, right? Because I know this, one multifamily apartment can set you free. It really can. It can change your life, right? My life, like I always think about this. My wife and I were talking about what's our life gonna look like in 5 years. We're already looking 5 years ahead. We always do. And just to think about these last 5 years of where we started and where we're come now, it's been amazing. And we think in 5 years, I think you heard it in the podcast I had with Shelly and I together. We talked about, creating almost $250,000 a month of passive cash flow. Like, that's a life that very few people live. Very few people live that life. But why not? Why can't it be you? I'm a humble guy. I don't need $250 million a month, but can I help some people with it? Can I enrich people's lives? Can I enrich my church? Can I give money away? Can I do? And I feel like in a way I want to be like Bill and Melinda Gates. Where spend a little bit of your life amassing wealth, and then spend the rest of your life giving it away. That's a great idea. It's a great concept. First, though, before I do that, though, I got to get my house in Hawaii. I got a 3-year plan, and I'm going to get Bruce's house. It will be mine. I'm just stating it again right now for the record. I'm not messing around. Hopefully they never watch this podcast, because if they do, they know that I'm going to buy it. I'm not telling them that right now, okay? So don't spill the beans. Last thing. The boardroom. So I meant to say one more thing about the boardroom. Kahuna Boardroom. KahunaBoardroom.com /apply. Just go to the KahunaBoardroom.com. If you want to get in my boardroom, go there and apply. Do it. By the time this produced, I think I'm only have maybe 2 or 3 weeks left, and I'm only accepting 35 people. So like, the room is small, it's intimate. You will get taught like unbelievable. I'm not saying I'm great, but but I think I'm pretty damn good. I think I'm pretty damn good at creating what I think is probably complicated, and it doesn't have to be. It can be really simple. And like, if I give you some basic things to get out there and start driving your way to like the cash flow life. Somebody told me the other day when I was in my first event, they're like, so I need to analyze two deals a day to be successful. And it was like, oh, it's like a lot of work. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, so if you spend 45 minutes to analyze those two deals a day to create legacy wealth for the rest of your life for your kids, you're not willing to do that? And when I said it like that, he looked at it, he kind of, you're right. And I said, yeah, I know. And I was, right? Because, hey, listen, I've always been willing to put in the work. I have. And you have to be willing too. Sometimes you have to sprint. In life, there's times where you have to super sprint. You have to focus everything you have. And now, the thing about sprinting is that you cannot sprint forever. You just can't do it. But then you got to learn to marathon. And so sometimes you have to get super focused. You got to do a lot of work, and it's not fun. It's not comfortable, and it feels like all you're doing is maybe concentrating on this one thing. But you do it for a short period. Now, for me, a short period is a couple months, right? I can sprint for a couple months if I have to. But then I've got to learn to marathon, and that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm enjoying my time. I'm going to spend this 45 minutes to create a cool little podcast. I like doing these things. That to me, this is fun. My kids are off with my wife. They're doing I don't know what they're doing. They're doing something, playing with the dolphins or something. And then we're gonna get together. It's about almost noon, and then we're gonna go spend the rest of the day together. And really, I have this podcast that I'm gonna do another episode when I get into Kauai, and that's really all on my list. Everything else is really, you can't get a hold of me. My phone goes to voicemail. My emails are on autoresponder saying I've gone fishing. And like, that's what I do. You should do it too, because it's not fair to sit there and take your phone and listen to it and be on it 24/7, especially when you're on vacation. Your kids will hate you. You just don't do it, right? But you can take a couple of times out like I am right now, and I'm going to have a good time. But the rest of this 14-day vacation, it's with my family. And, most people don't know how to turn it off, and you've got to learn. And you got to give yourself permission to be the dad that you want to be, right? To play full out with your kids, to play full out with your spouse, just to play full out, just to go play. Most people don't even know they forgot how to play. Not me, dude. I'm gonna go play all week. This is absolute paradise, dude. How could you not want to just go out every day and wake up to this? I'm telling you, I love this. I love Hawaii. I mean, to this day, there's no other vacation that I can take that allows me the peace, the serenity. So check this out. Why I'm here in Hawaii this month in June. I am already planning something that's going to come up next June. Next June, I'm going to create an event called the Cashflow Network. It is where I'm going to allow everybody, whether you are in any shape or form, I don't care who you are, I'm going to invite you to come to Hawaii it's either going to be a 3-day or a 4-day event. I'm probably going to make it a 3-day event, and then I'm going to make where you can extend the room blocks, because I'm going to get you a smoking price on your hotel stay that you're going to want to bring your family. And I'm going to encourage you to bring your family, right? Because I'm going to bring mine, right? And we're going to do 3 days, and it's going to be networking. It's going to be it's going to be a little bit more loose, but we're going to do some stuff in the morning. I'm going to have a keynote speaker, probably. I think I've not locked it up yet, but with Les Brown. Les Brown is going to be an amazing speaker. If you've ever Google Les Brown right now, and you're going to see that he is a world-class speaker, and he's going to be speaking on our stage. Not to mention that I'm going to do it really cheap, so I think it's only going to be like $1,500 per person, and but we're going to give you a nice room block. At least that's the plan. And we don't know exactly. We just know it's going to be in Kauai, which is the Garden Island, which is the island that I want to share with you. And we'll either be in Princeville, which is on the north side, or we're going to be in the Grand Hyatt, which is in Poipu. And it could be maybe the Sheraton in Poipu as well. It all is affordable as possible, but we want to make it to where we can give you that room block for an extended period of time, so you can come to the event before or after and like hang out with your family and really get and make it a full experience that you're going to get a lot out of it, right? So with that said, guys, listen, look at behind me. Look at the life. Look at this life. Okay? Never in a million years. I mean, hold on. Let me look at you. Never in a million years did I think that a small town country farm boy would be on a podcast telling and talking to you the way that I am. With confidence, with supreme confidence, with clarity and focus and knowing where I'm going and what I'm doing. I never thought in a million years that I would be worth it or able to. But I was humble and I worked and I learned and I educated my mind and I gave myself all the tools, all the things that I needed to make it happen. I'm going to tell you right now, you can do it too. I'm nothing special. There's no gifts that I own that are any better than yours. That's just a fact, okay? I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else does. So hopefully that gives you enough confidence that you too can have legacy wealth, that you too can have the dream of living and doing exotic vacations for long periods of time and not having to worry about, am I going to have money left over? Or, gosh, we just had like a couple cock finger for $120, right? And you don't even worry about it. You just pay for it. You went and bought some snorkel gear that costs a couple $100 because your kids needed it. That is a life I never thought I would be living, but I live it today. I'm telling you right now, it is amazing. It is so fulfilling. It is so rewarding to give my kids these types of experiences, but also to teach them how to be humble as well, right? That is my number one challenge, is to make sure that the money doesn't corrupt them, right? And in my house, it won't happen because I make my kids work for everything, right? They have to work, right? I have to give them the same experiences that I have. My daughter already knows she's going to have to work at a fast food restaurant for just a period of time. Why? Because I've got to make sure that she understands the difference, right? You just have to create those experiences because those experiences led me to who I am, and it will help shape her for who she is as well. But the whole goal is you can do anything that you put your mind to. All you have to do, truly have to believe it. You've got to start it right here in your mind. That is the first place you put that dream, and then you water it. You talk to it daily. You give yourself positive affirmations. You tell yourself that you're the one, that you are willing, that you should have it. You should be enjoying this life. Act as if you already have it each and every day, because your paradise is possible. Thanks, and have a wonderful day, guys.